Let's go back to how it got here. We wouldn't be here if every single Democrat didn't vote with 8 Republicans to shut this place down.
On the left, that is former Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He is erupting at Fox News Capitol Hill correspondent Chad Pergram there on the right, because Pergram is pointing out the significant number of Republicans who keep voting to continue the House paralysis.
That's it. No, Republicans voted against Jim Jordan today on the floor, including 2 votes from somebody who's not even a member anymore.
Every single Democrat and 8 Republicans voted to shut down one branch of government. That is why we're here today. There's no other reason why we're here today but because of that.
Except that the vote to fire McCarthy was weeks ago, and now even more Republicans have voted against Jim Jordan.
Now we had a vote on the floor. It didn't get to the whole point. Now we'll take a break, talk to people, and come back and solve it.
So how long? Is this going to be today?
Yes, with that question about timing, McCarthy stormed off. McCarthy knows all about losing votes to become House Speaker. In his case, 10 months earlier, it took 15 ballots in 4 days before McCarthy got the 216 votes needed. McCarthy was able to make some side deals with the Republicans initially opposed to him. Well, Ohio Republican Jim Jordan is now trying to do the same thing. Here is CNN's congressional correspondent Manu Raju.
Those holdouts right now trying to allay their concerns, trying to convince them to vote for him or vote present, which could change the threshold, could make it easier for him to be elected speaker. Those conversations are ongoing. But Jake, I've talked to several Republicans in the hallway here who voted against him just moments ago, and they're making clear that they don't plan to vote for him on the second ballot as well. One Congressman John Rutherford just talked to our colleague Sam Fossum. He said, I am where I am. He said, I'm not going to change his position. Same with Mario Diaz-Balart, who's a Florida Republican who voted for Steve Scalise. He also is indicating that he is not moving off his opposition. Carlos Jimenez, who you spoke with, also indicating that he's not going to move from supporting Kevin McCarthy. That right there, just 3 votes there. There are more that are expected to vote against Jim Jordan on the second ballot as well.
More that are going to vote against Jordan on the second ballot. And keep in mind, to be elected Speaker with no Democratic help, a Republican cannot afford to lose the support of more than 5 GOP lawmakers.
Jordan is still working behind the scenes, trying to convince members to come his way. But this number, this margin, 20 Republicans voting against him, that is much worse than they anticipated. They thought they were within striking distance. Jordan allies even thought they were within 10 votes of the speakership. They thought they were better than McCarthy did in January when he lost 19 Republicans on that first ballot. 20 Republicans is a significant deficit for him to make up, but they are still trying to push ahead.
Still trying to push ahead, kind of like a difficult childbirth. Bear down, push hard, grunt, and try to deliver, only instead of giving birth to a baby, the Republicans are trying to give birth to a GOP congressional freakazoid. That monster, or Republican speaker, if you will have to manage and guide one of the most extreme and controversial congressional Republican majorities in decades. And as we've said, it is a slim Republican majority. So any concessions that Jim Jordan or anybody else makes to appease the holdout Republicans will make it more difficult for the GOP majority to function and govern. On the other side of Capitol Hill, the U.S. Senate Minority Leader, Republican Mitch McConnell, was asked about the Republican House chaos.
Jim Jordan just failed to win the speaker vote. He's 20 votes short. Do you think the House should reinstall Kevin McCarthy or empower Patrick McHenry?
You guys cover the House. I got my hands full here in the Senate.
Who said Mitch McConnell was ailing? That was witty and funny. McConnell is definitely back and seems with it. Plus, his answer was brilliant. Senate Republicans gain absolutely nothing by weighing in on the House Republican mess. Only the House Republicans can solve it, so McConnell's dodge was spot on. Now, there are some House Republicans who seem open to the idea of striking a deal with Democrats. In other words, the proposal is that some Democrats and some Republicans would work together on a compromise House Speaker who, between both parties, would be able to get the 216 votes needed to take the Speaker's chair.
So at this point, I would prefer there to be a Republican solution, because when they rejected bipartisanship, it's kind of hard to then go back to it. Mm-hmm. But if there is a need, if the radical, almost just handful of people in the Republican side make us unable to be able to return to general work on the House, then I think obviously a deal will have to be done.
A deal will have to be done, indeed, because at the moment, a lot of key bills are dead in the water. And whether it's aid for Ukraine or assistance and support for Israel or a government funding bill, The House cannot continue this paralysis indefinitely without severe damage. So here's what I think the Democrats should do. Given that a House Speaker does not have to be a member of the House, Democrats should nominate a Republican who served on the January 6th committee and is no longer in the House. That's either Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger. Both are moderate Republicans, at least compared to the far right-wing Freedom Caucus that supports Jim Jordan. Also, unlike Jordan, who spoke to Donald Trump repeatedly about January 6th and may have aided Trump's efforts to subvert democracy, Cheney and Kinzinger have worked hard to get to the bottom of the Capitol insurrection and cleanse the GOP of Trump. For that reason, Cheney or Kinzinger might fall 100 Republican votes short in a speaker's ballot, but Democrats could make up the difference, give the House a speaker, and essentially tell the far-right Republicans to do that thing that is anatomically impossible. Also, to get anything done in this Congress, any speaker is going to need bipartisan support. Would Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger accept the job? Well, maybe not. But then again, the House Speaker is a big deal. You are second in line for the presidency and directly behind the vice president. Finally, back to the former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. I started this video by noting his outburst at a Fox News reporter. McCarthy actually has a history of lashing out at the media. Here's another example from January 2023 when McCarthy was asked about New York Republican House member George Santos.
He's gotten elected by his district. So, okay, let me be very clear and respectful to you. You ask me a question. When I answer it, it's the answer to your question. You don't get to determine whether I answer your question or not, okay? In all respect. Thank you.
Wow, talk about prickly. Perhaps we should have known that even at the beginning of a gig as House Speaker, the job can saddle you with an exceptionally short fuse. Or maybe Kevin McCarthy has always had a short fuse. In any case, the sensitivities are everywhere these days for House Republicans. They simply cannot govern, and they know it. By the way, Jim Jordan and his supporters have underscored that they have no shame.
Jim Jordan will be an excellent speaker. I think he'll be able to get to 217.
That is Ohio Republican Mike Turner. The House lawmaker supports Jim Jordan and is clearly willing to serve up whoppers about one of Jordan's biggest controversies, the sex abuse scandal at Ohio State University.
Well, first, Margaret, the allegations at Ohio State, there's not one person who's ever said that they have knowledge of Jim Jordan having any knowledge.
That's false. Several former wrestlers say Jordan knew about a team doctor's sexual abuse.
And what occurred at Ohio State wasn't even under Jim Jordan. He was not the head coach. This was not something that he had responsibility for.
Actually, he did have responsibility. Because even though it's true Jordan was not the head wrestling coach, he was an assistant coach.
Those that are making accusations are making, just presumptions of, well, he would have had to have known. But there's no one, I mean, mind you, this was years ago, no one who has come forward at all ever and ever said that there was actual knowledge on Jim Jordan's part.
Jim Jordan called me crying, groveling.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.